Hi everyone, this is Mary Reed, and I have something that I'm excited to share with you. As many of you know, I host a private community. We gather a couple of times a week for teachings and book readings and things like that. And occasionally I will invite special guests to join us to amplify the teachings, to inspire us, to let us know about different things that are going on, or just to provide some support for me and my community. And so today it was a great joy to invite Emily Hayward to join us. Emily does light language, light codes transmission from her home in England. And so she joined us today, did a beautiful interview and transmission for us. And at the end of the gathering, I asked if I were to share this transmission more publicly, would it be helpful for others as well? And of course, the answer was yes. But the way that Emily answers it is so perfect and unique. So you'll hear that in this session. Now, because this was with my private community, a lot of people asked questions, and I've taken most of those questions and used them in what I'm sharing here, but I've taken out the identity of the people that were asking the questions just because we're a private community and people want to have their anonymity or identity protected here. So I am narrating each of the questions. You'll hear me interject those periodically. So we begin with Emily gives her background, then she does a beautiful transmission for us, and then we have some wonderful Q&As that's really, really helpful and illuminating for you. So I hope you enjoy. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started. We don't want to take up too much of Emily's time. She's joining us from London, her home. But Emily, the way that we're going to do this, everybody, is I'm going to just ask Emily to share a little bit about her background, her journey, and then she'll do her big old beautiful transmission for us. And then afterwards, we'll open it up for Q&A. So before we begin, Emily, I just want you, if you're okay with that, to just talk a little bit about your journey. I know that it's this onset of these unusual and stunning abilities is quite recent, relatively speaking. I've been in this weird world for about 25 years. I entered it accidentally, if you will, or I was guided here. So I know what it is to be in the first, early stages of all of it, but it just kind of barreled out for you unstoppably. And you braved getting on YouTube and putting this out very publicly, but obviously it resonated with people. People were very ready for it. And it's probably opened up a lot of things in your world that you absolutely didn't expect to. So if you'd like to share a little bit about your journey, we're all ears. We'll take you in with such love.
Thank you so much. Yeah, that's quite a good introduction. First of all, thank you everyone who's showed up here and is open to this, even if you're unaware and sort of what this might all be about. And it is kind of weird to a lot of people, even on those on the spiritual path. This kind of light language thing can still be quite confusing. And I'm not saying I have all the answers and all the clarity, because like I'm in it kind of experiencing all of this as it happens in real time. That's what Mary and I have in common. We've both had a very experiential path where a lot of what we bring forth is not what we've learned from textbooks or from gurus or from anything outside of ourselves. We've had a sort of very experiential journey, and that's what's happened for me. My awakening process is relatively recent compared to Mary's, and so I feel like I might have gone through an accelerated sort of path.
Beautifully.
A lot of people I speak to say, oh my goodness, it took me 20 years to go through what you're going through, what you've been going through in about 5 years. So I think that's happening for a lot of us now. When it's time to kind of come online, it's time to come online. And that's what it felt. I kind of almost felt like I was like this sleeper cell. And all of a sudden, Source was like, no, it's your time. Wake up. And these are your gifts. And this is what you need to bring. But yes, so I started really going through an awakening process around about 2016, 17. But before that, I'd had a long history of health issues. And I was diagnosed with chronic fatigue syndrome when I was 19 and had very chronic illness for, to be honest, decades. It wasn't until in my 40s that I really healed from that fully and started to open up more to my spiritual path and my spiritual abilities. But I came from the wellness route. I didn't come in from a sort of seeking a spiritual path route at all. I was open to it. I was brought up in a sort of Christian environment. My dad was a pastor of a church, so I was brought up with that, but I didn't sort of follow in that. But that's kind of my background. But because I had a lot of experience of illness, I sought out a lot of alternative healing methods. And so it's through that I came deeper and deeper into tuning in with my body. And in fact, my whole process on this spiritual path has actually become being about deepening into my body, not escaping it. And so this sort of confused me quite a bit, because a lot of the spiritual practices that I was introduced to, a lot of meditation techniques and so forth, as part of my healing journey, were really more about transcending out of the body, and I just found that really difficult. And I went through a whole difficult phase of my life where I thought, oh, I'm doing something wrong, something's not right, because I can't do what everyone's telling me I should do. But eventually I just followed my own guidance, and my own personal journey was really about coming more deeply and deeply into my heart. So as I started to heal from chronic illness, I started to just come into my heart and listen to what my heart was guiding me. And I found some really interesting things happen when I started to come into my heart space. First of all, I started to realize that I could come into a real state of presence to everything that was happening within me, and a sort of openness that simultaneously felt like I was connecting to something much, much bigger than me, but also very present to all that I am right here, right now in my physical vessel. And so that was really interesting to me. And I started opening up to very strange mystical experiences. So I started to, my third eye kind of opened, and I started seeing geometric shapes and colors everywhere. I started seeing all sorts of energies that I can't even explain to you. I just honestly can't put it into words. I just started seeing energy all of a sudden. And so through my sort of several years, I started realizing that I had abilities to move and work with energy. So I was seeing energy and realized that I can transmute energy through my heart space, and realized that I can, from the heart space, witness energies and move energies and heal with energies and all sorts of things. I mean, it was, as I said, an experiential journey. I felt like I was going through a training process, but through experience. And so I learned how to bring healing to myself, and I realized I could do this with others as well. And so this was all before the light language even showed up. I had no idea what light language was. I just had nothing like this on my radar at all. I was not exposed to this kind of thing. I was not aware of this kind of thing. But through my own healing process, what I'm telling you, and this working with energy, I started to obviously open up to more and more to my creative self-expression through my body. And like I said, a lot of this process of healing for me was coming more and more into my body, and an embodiment process coming, experiencing more through my body, not escaping it. And as I did that, and I started to feel more aliveness within my body, and a lot of that's from trauma healing, sort of healing a lot of trauma and going through my healing process and sort of meeting the wounding. I started to sort of feel like an opening, and one day, spontaneously in my sort of daily practice, daily practice as in I have my own developed spiritual practice, and I suddenly started speaking light language. And I didn't know it was light language. I kind of guessed. I'd heard of light language, but I hadn't ever listened to anyone speaking it, and I hadn't, followed that from anyone. And so I started speaking in this strange language, and my hands started moving. And it was like a light switch just went on. And from that day onwards, and that was March 2023, so almost 2 years. And from that day on, I was speaking every day, and I haven't stopped since. And what I've realized is that it's one, it's a mode of self-expression, but it's so many ways. I could talk for hours about this, so I've got to be focused here. It was part of my authentic self-expression, but as my as not just Emily, but as my multidimensionality. And what I'd realized is, as this journey I've been going through of embodiment, I realized that I was actually integrating aspects of myself that are multidimensional. And as I integrate those parts of myself, the gifts from those parts come through and get expressed through me, through here. And so Emily is the front. It's kind of like Mary would say, we're the front person for almost like an orchestra. You could say we're sort of I don't know if I could say we can conduct, even the conductors, I guess source is the conductor and we're maybe in the role of the conductor, but then we're bringing through this vast orchestra. And so I see my light language really as light codes, and each of the codes are like musical instruments, but really they can be aspects of myself, aspects of my higher dimensional aspects that are a lot of them are very cosmic, and a lot of them are earthy, and some of these frequencies are all sorts of things. And so what I realize is I am embodying more and more of the vastness of who I am, focused in this now, and all of those aspects come and flow depending on what wants to be shared, wants to be healed. And so my light language is used as a healing sort of instrument. It's used to help people calibrate, come back to more of the truth of who they are, and connect with their own inner wisdom, connect with their multidimensionality, as well as kind of an unlocking. So because we call them codes, light language can be seen as codes that fit certain locks to help unlock memories within you, help activate deeper wisdom held within you. All of it is not all of it is interactive. So even though it seems like I'm transmitting something to you, really it's a divine orchestration and a collaboration. So everyone who receives the codes is actively engaged and somehow participating at a soul level to open up more to the truth of who you are and your inner power, your inner light, your inner wisdom, and what wants to come through you for your journey, honoring your soul path. Hope that makes sense. I am trying to condense it all as much as possible, but it's one of these conversations that you can go on and on and on for hours.
That was fantastic and extremely helpful. So I want to just mention a couple of things that Emily mentioned. The integration of multidimensional aspects of herself. This is just reiterating again and again that we're all multidimensional beings. Everything is present all the time. We're just not aware of it. But I also just want to clarify something. So Emily, you said that as you're bringing in these light codes and it's helping for your own healing and your own sort of connection here, that it's also a transmission for others. It's not just your aspects. When you're with a group like us, so for example, consensus always says we're only here for what's happening in the moment. And the makeup of consensus, all of the divine beings present in what I experience as a stadium, it's not the same composition of higher aspects of ourselves each time. It just depends on what's needed in the moment for whoever is taking in the transmission in that moment. So it doesn't matter if we're here live, it doesn't matter if they're listening on the recording, like there's things that happen across time and space. So I just want to clarify that when you're doing a group session like we're doing today, it's really meeting us where we are, both individually and collectively, because we operate very much as a collective body here in my community. So I just want to verify that, yes?
100%.
Okay.
Yes, I see it as very much like that. It's always so my team. So I have a big team who are again part of me and I'm part of them, but also I can bring through codes that could be colors or places, locations, all sorts of things that are appropriate for this group, this unique gathering, or whatever time space you're watching or listening, because it works in the quantum field. So it's always in the now, right? Wherever you are, you're in the now experiencing this. And so yes, it's exactly what you said, Mary, and that's exactly how I view it.
Beautiful, beautiful. All right, well, I don't want to spend too much time on getting too much more information because I feel like we're kind of ready given that framework and understanding. So I know that you're going to take everybody in your own way, but I just want to, because we're used to doing this, I just want to invite everyone into this sense of union, the sense of togetherness, to bring ourselves fully in the present moment into the unitive state. So let's just take a moment here. We're going to just absorb everything that Emily has been saying and the very presence of Emily as well. Let's take a nice, good, deep breath in. And really let that exhale just bring you into this present moment, letting everything relax, feeling into our togetherness here, the gift of our togetherness, and really letting ourselves be anchored in presence and availability, letting everything just kind of fall open and being this receiving state. And with that, Emily, I'll turn it over to you, darling.
Thank you, Mary. Yes, so I'd invite everyone to just come into their heart space, feel their feet on the ground, just feel relaxed, centered, settled. And there's nothing you have to do for this, but I just want to say a few things. So, if you're unfamiliar with light language, sometimes it can be tempting to think it's a language that needs to be translated through the mind. But actually, light language, or like I prefer to say, light codes, really, are really frequencies that work on a heart and soul level, and they bypass the linearity of the mind. They're not to be understood or translated. And so, see if you can surrender your mind to your heart. And that's why it's really great to be in your heart space, because your inner guidance and wisdom will bring through the clarity you might want to receive from this transmission. This transmission works in multi-leveled and layers ways. And if you can see when I start channeling, I start swaying. And if you hear my breath changing at sometimes, because when I'm moving energy, and sometimes I will sing. I do a lot of singing and very strange sounds. So just try to release any kind of judgment about that and say it's just coding, it's just codes, it's just frequency, it's an interpretation through sound of frequency, just like color, right? And so I'm, transmitting frequencies, and these work on your energy field in the way that's right for you. Your teams, your higher self will be guiding this for what's right for you. There's nothing you need to do. Just use your discernment and your attunement to your own vessel to what is right for you at this time. So if at any point you feel uncomfortable, that's totally fine. Just you can, zone out, or if you're not comfortable, I honor that. But just try and relax and let go of the judgment about it, because it can be really easy to think, oh, I need to understand this. What I find is when people receive these codes, everyone's different in how they interpret information. Some people see information, so you might get images, or you might get words, or you might feel sensations. If you're very sensitive energetically to vibration, you might feel stuff through your body. What I tend to do is when I start doing the light codes, I will narrate at times where I'm going in the body. So I usually go through the chakric system and different places in the energy field, and I'll say, for example, oh, I'm going into the heart field now, or I'm going into the solar plexus now. But you might feel that, and that's fine. But if you don't worry. There's nothing, there's no right or wrong here. And also, you might be having your own experience. It's totally unique to you. That isn't kind of what I'm saying. So trust that as well. So yeah, that's all I have to say, really. So with that said, I'll get going. So let's all connect together. So let's take a few deep breaths in and out through the heart, slow, gentle breaths together. Dropping the jaw, dropping the shoulders. Again, feeling yourself in your body, in your beautiful vessels. Shayana Kotoriana, Shayana Kotoriana, Shayana Kotoriana, Akakashina Haru Shadra 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 Shadra. Yana Shayu, 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 Yana Shayu. Itorani shananam, otoka shana, trokati eshe, orupe eshani, trokati shatume, ikrut ashati, akrut karashanaroma, ufwe, ufwe, ufwe. Ikani shadarani atorashe, tikaroto kotrashikshe, trokati karashete otokarashete kishini. So I'm coming into the solar plexus area and the heart. Troka isha nakaroto karashteke aroto karakishinini, trokata karashete atuma owe. Troka arasheto karashete etikashana kotorshikishiniato, troka arashini. Ashitiya on my way. Troki shanirani. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. So now I'm coming to the top of the forehead and the root chakra. Troki isha narani, trokalani, 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 trokalani. Isha tuma asho tuma ishati. Rokoto kera ishini. Trokata kara shatu konuma e. Aroto to ishini. Trokata kisha na koroshet ke ishinia. Kira no. Kira no. So I'm just doing some calibration through all the chakra system and through the central column and grounding us. Kira no. Atorashanarani. Torashalani awe. Trokate kasha norma. Troka asha tume esheti. Trokate kisha norma. Ofwe, ofwe, ofwe. Rotuto kashinelani. Ikrot arinshani. Itoto kahashani. Akoto shati ana. Ishanana anuma awe, awe, awe. Atarashanara nara awe. Ishatoroma atikra shatokora tike atikra shana kotorshe keshinia torokote shenini. Eroka eshana karakata koroshe tike eshania. Otorashana aroma, 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 aroma. So I'm in the root chakra, but I'm feeling a lot of expansion through the heart field. Trokeshanarani, trokarani, arana, 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 arana. Yanasheu, 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 Yanasheu. Akarani, akarani, akarani. Troka atu kuto shenirani. Ikorotek atu kuto shekishiniatu. Troka shenarani yawe. Ishotoroma atuma, 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 atuma. Ikataka toro shenirani. Eshanoma, ashanoma, 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 ashanoma. Otoreke shena kataka toro shereke shena umawe. Ikoroteka shenarani hatu, 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 hatu. Torani sharania hatu, 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 hatu. Kiranu. Kiranu. Aye, 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 oh yeah, oh yeah. Dorokishania. So I'm really going quite deep into the root chakra here. Dorokishana, tikara e doroshe tikara shana koroshike shini. Dorokotoke tikara shata kara shata kara shata kara shata kara shata. Dorokote tikara shani katokishani rani. Dorokato koshana oma. Doroka ashana mawe. Ikurut akashani rani. Doroka arishani katorshara atakashana arotokosheshe. Atokashani karakashana 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 karakasha. Adisha domashe, akomashe, akotoshatirani, atumashe, 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 yututu karashinirani, trokata ana we, trokati kasanato korashatike, tigrashato kotorshike, akutu karashitikeshe, trokata karashana oma, trokati shania hatu, 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 hatu. Asheti anamawe, akisha nilani, anana ni ani. Trati taranomashe, yakonomashe tiyati. Trokatika anoma, trokatishani, aha. Oto ya nara 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 na. Ya nara 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 na. Trokori yana karokori tika anonkoro shitika ranonto pera. Trokatakoro tokara nitra hatu. Trokatikri shiti era nia. Trokatakara atokoro shitike eia. Toka take ishan kara koto kara shitik e tekara shoto kotro shikishini. Toka aro koto kata kara shitik e tekishide. Toka tara shete koto ka shitik e shena koto kotro shishi. Tokoto ate kara ato kara shitik e teka ato kotro shitik e shedek e tekara shato kotro ketek shedek ato kotro shishi. Tokoto kora shitik kara kotro shitik e tekara shedek ato kotro shitikishe. Troni atarana atorani atarana atorani atarana atorani atarana. Aye, 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 oh yeah, oh yeah. So we're really working on the grounding here and the root through the root down to the earth. So I'm really bringing through a lot of these cosmic codes really through down into the root to be grounded here through our bodies into this life. Trototo eshani, trokata an, koroteke etekeshena, kotroshekeshe, trokote edani, tarani. Aye, 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 ya, oh yeah, oh yeah. Yanasheu, 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 Yanasheu. Asheti anano masheti anama. Trokeshalani anamawe, anamawe, anamawe. Otorsheti atikarashatu korosheti shinato kotoroshekishi. Trokotukarani awe. Toshwati, 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 toshwati. Yanasheu, wakano. Ishatirana, owe. So what I'm feeling we're doing, I'm bringing a lot through the root. So there's a lot based on releasing of old fears. Doing some recalibration around here. Trokata Aisha Narani, Trokata Rani, Trakata Orfe, Ekoto Keshaneka, Ketikation, Katakisha, Shenoma. So now I'm coming across the pelvis, sacral area. Oshwatirani, hatu. Tokeratnika, Tokroshetik, Tekrashata, Katoroshetik Ishni, Trota Alana, aroma. Yanasheu, 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 Yanasheu. So really I'm working with these lower two chakras now. Trokiteke shanaka tokorosheteke eshanama, troko oshanani, tokarini. Shwat inyatu umishi, yakata karashatu koroshenirani, o shwat inyatu. Kirano. Ati shanoma ati, ranoma sheki, aroma shetirani, atoma sheki ani. Toka arana shatom ishe, yatara tu me ika arani, aha, atoka aranita arufwe, yata aratu me, aka aranita arokudni arani, toka aranuma sheti, yikota arani ashe, oh yeah, Isatara no kodroshirikishin, tratuma sheti ana, ufwe, ikotokarani, aha, akotoka arani asheti anarani. Aye. Oh yeah. Asheti aniranum, shati aniatum, yakala no mashe, ikarakoto krashani anni, atoro masheti e. Kirano. Ita ani shatome esheki, ikoto krasheti kara hatu. So I'm just holding through the root, bringing through a lot of codes down here. I feel like a lot of this is about feeling a sense of belonging and feeling at home here in our bodies, in our lives on this earth at this time. I'm feeling some grief here. Ya karani, 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 karani. Troka shada no masheti. Ikruta shana nara, 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 na. Aye, 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 ya, oh yeah, oh yeah. Itara masheti ani trokati. Ishatokarani. Ishatokarashiti erana. Ufwe, ufwe, ufwe. So I'm feeling a lot of compassion. Ishana anome, shanome, 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 ya. Ikoto arani ta rotufwe. Yaka arani ashatume, shatume, shatume, shatume. Itarato, isharani, aya, aya, aya. Tuko rashitikara, tuko rashitika ishani tara numashe. Tuka arani, tuka arani, tuka arani, tuka arani. Uturaka arana awe. Aye, 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 oh yeah, oh yeah. So I feel like we need to take some big deep breaths down into this root area, this sacral area, big, long, slow exhales. Yata ashanara nashala nara shala nara shala nara shala nara shala nara shala nara shala nara. Yana sheu, 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 yana sheu. Italani, Italani, Italani. Yana sheu, 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 yana sheu. Ito shana koro mese shan, trokodom sheti ishini, toka arashata koro teke eteke hatu. So I'm really reaching very, very, very high, 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 high. Torkateka ateka tekosheneka etekashana koroshika tekashana katoshika etekashana koroshika ishani. Torkotaka tekashika etekashana katoshika etekashana katoshika etekashana koroshika teka 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 teka. Torkatekashika tekashika katoshika ishani tekratokoshishe. Tork atort atort atort. Aye, 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 oh yeah, oh yeah. Ooh, ooh. So I'm now coming right down through the whole of right side of the aura. Yanasheo, Yanasheo, Wakano, Wakano. Rosheti kadna aduko shwatir ani 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 ani. Aye, 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 oh yeah, oh yeah. Yanasheu, 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 Yanasheu. Shayana Kotoriana, Shayana Kotoriana, Shayana Kotoriana, Akatakashini, Rusha, 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 Rusha. So I'm just doing some calibration through the head space. Yatora shetikarano kotroshi shetikarano ma shetuma shetume 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 shetume. And now I'm coming to the throat chakra. Oh, I'm feeling quite a lot coming through the throat chakra now. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. I feel like some of you have a lot of fear of speaking up, fear of sharing your voice. Ikanana koroshike erani trokata krashana otokeshanarani trokata tika takarashata kotorshekisha trokata karatu mehe ya kotorshike etikashana kotorshike tiket akatuka takrashike isini trokata kata 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 otutushpatita ni trokara shana kotorshite krashana kotorshite krashata koroshite atutu otushpati troka ani tarana 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 ah yeah ah yeah ah yeah oh yeah, oh yeah. Just opening the throat here. Trokarani, 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 trokarani. So releasing a lot of fear of expression. Troka atika tokorsha atokorshetik etikashana kotorshetik ishana kotorshetik etikashana kotoketikashana etikorokotokorshetik ishini. Troka takatikashana kotorshetik etikashana kotokorshetik ishana kotokorshetik tokotokorshetik etikashana katikashana 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 katikashana. Ooh, ooh. Ah yeah, ah yeah, ah yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. And now through the heart, coming through the heart field, opening the heart, where there's been some pain, some heart wounding here. Anana, arana, 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 arana. O shitira na kome shakira ni trokoto kara na atu. I kukuto ka atakora shetikira ni. Trokoto ke atikara shatakora shetikira hatu. O koto e shania hatu. I shatoroma e. So I'm really feeling a lot of more opening, a gentle opening through the heart where there's felt some constriction here. Trokoto erani ka te karato kora shetike te karashatakoto kora shetike ate arani 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 arani. Asheti rani atume sheti. Asheti anasheti 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 anasheti. Trututu atatatatato da ke erati karoto katakeste katakoroshete ketokoroshete ketekrashata katoroshete keshini trokata karishete etekeshena katokeshani trokata karishete eshe. So I'm now just coming to through the throat. There's some area on the right. For some of you, there's some clearing that needs here. Trokita rono kota era kitka ato kada sheni karoko kota shirike etika shana oto to kara shetika etika rashato kotor shikshe to korta ka atka shetika to sheni kara kitka hato. Trotika ta kara to kumesha ta korto kotor shikshe. Okay, so we're actually doing some throat activation, so some of you can feel more free in your self-expression. Toka era na kotoreshete ke etikesha na kotokarashete ke etikesha na kotokarashete ke etikara shato koroshete ke etikesha na katekesha na ketekesha na katekesha na katekesha na katekesha na katekesha na katekesha na katekesha. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. And that's coming through the heart as well, so you can speak freely from the heart, express from the heart. Tokita arona te era no meshete era tikita shana koroshekeshi trokotokarana arana 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 arana. Trotita arana toto chatikarano kotorshekishe trokota arani 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 arani. Atisha no meshe tu meshe tu meshe tu meshe tu meshe tu meshe tu me. Coming back to the root. All the while I've been in the root chakra as well. Ishani rani arani arani aranani urtushwatiri. Yakon meshe, yakon meshe, yakon meshe. Atira no mashete ro meshete karoto koroshete ke tikarashata kotoroshete ke ishena kotoroshete ke ishena kateke ishena kotoroshete ke. So in the root and the sacral again. Trokote ke reke toroshete ke atokoroshete ke etikeshena kotoroshete ke ishena kotoroshete ke shini atome. Aka aka kaka 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 kaka. Ufwe ufwe ufwe. Torani tarana torani tarana torani tarana torani tarana. Hati ta arumite karoto koroshete ke she. Yanasheyu, 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 Yanasheyu. So I'm just doing a bit of work around the root again in the sacral area to bring a bit more stability here. Kia tuka aro tukoroshtike e te katakoroshtike e te koroshtike at tukoroshtike e rano ma a e shitiron. I korotaka aro me e she to me ke te shani. To koroshtike e dike a shana ro me she. To kotoke alin to katikara shana Kira no. Kira no. Itarani atarana atorni atarana. I kotoroshtike e te karashata kotoroshtike she. So there's just some fear memories, like some trauma imprints we're just releasing now in some of you, that where you might have had some deep-seated fears of sort of being silenced or shut down, unable to use your voice. Turoteka atukotoshiriki ishina katakashina katakashina katakotoshirikishe. Tukotoshiriki ishina uma awe, uma awe, uma awe. So we're just doing some work in the nervous system. Troki erani trokeshatek erashana katoroshatek etekeshana katoroshatek ishni. Trokotu karana katakata kotoroshatek ishina katekishana 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 katekisha. Ah yeah, ah yeah, ah yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. So there's some like old stories some of you are holding on to here. Fear-based sort of narratives and just imprints you just don't need to hold on to any longer. Otoroshetike erokatakadarshane kotokoroshetike ishini. Trokotokarashanarane. Trokarani, trokarani, trokarani. Some of them aren't even just your stories, they're just general collective narratives. Or what you've maybe inherited or picked up. We're just releasing some of this and just bringing more light through here. Yanasheu, 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 Yanasheu. Itani atu korashini, trokon mashiti, rotu shani. Ati aroma, 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 aroma. Let's take another couple of deep breaths down here and just see if you can relax that a little bit more and allow yourself to feel held and supported. I'm just holding here for a moment while we just recalibrate here, see what else is needed. So I'm just hearing that some of you, we're just helping clear up some of this old survival energy. Without, there's no judgment of it. It's just time to release some of this inherent sort of survival stress we run through these human bodies. So you can just, I'm feeling the energy of like more joyous self-expression. I'm feeling more like more feeling of aliveness wanting to come through. Yanasheu, Yanasheu, Yanasheyo, 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 Yanasheyo. And we're just coming to a close, so I'm just going to slow down and see if there's anything else before we finish here. Let's just hold here for a moment. I'm sensing that a lot of you, it might be helpful for a lot of you to do a bit more movement, to move some of this energy through, sort of even dancing, stretching. So, you know, there are times to sit in stillness and there are times to move the energy. I think it might help with this integration. You know, whatever feels resonant for you, whether that's a gentle walk or some vigorous exercise or some qigong or yoga or just dancing. I'm feeling it needs to be more of a sense of pleasure, pleasure in movement, not like exercise so much. And something with rhythm I'm hearing now, something rhythmic might be helpful for some of you. Shayana, 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 Shayana. So just there's just a few more codes that want to come through. Shayana, 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 ye. Shayana, ye. O Shatiyani, Masheti, Akume Shekama, we. Yato me Shekirani. Aye, aye. Kiano me Shekiana, Otoshe, Yaye. Yato me Yaye, she. Drakana umme aye. Oshpatirani. Shayana Kotoriana, Shayana Kotoriana, Shayana Kotoriana, Akatakashina. So I'm feeling a lot of real stable, calm, peaceful energies really coming through. Shay away, Trona Shatiani away. Akama away, Ekishatum, Irana uwe. Aye, 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 oh yeah, oh yeah. So I'm just hearing the word feeling at home. Allow yourself to feel at home in your bodies, in this body, in this life, as a gift, as a treasure. That some of us need to enjoy being in our bodies a little bit more. Okay, I'm closing. Yes, we are complete. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So I invite you to just rest a minute or so before opening your eyes and just maybe bringing some movement through your body, taking a few deep breaths, stretching, or just resting if that feels optimal for you. When you're ready, you can come back into the space. Oh, thank you.
What an incredible experience that was. I feel quite teary in this moment. I could just feel the love in so many different ways, just these streams of love again and again and again. And because I love these folks so much, just knowing all the support that's happening for them, it's just gorgeous. It's just gorgeous. So thank you very much, Emily, and thank you to all that you've been through. Thank you to all that have been participating here. Oh, that was gorgeous. And you know, I've heard your stuff several times, darling, and I've had a personal session with you as well. And I could tell a difference in this transmission versus others. And I'm wondering if you could as well. And on that note, does it feel different to you, like in the process itself, when you're doing a group like ours, or you're doing a private session, or you're doing it for yourself, or you're doing it in sort of an anonymous YouTube transmission?
Yes, whenever I do a specific group, well, everyone feels unique. I mean, obviously, I bring through this very similar codes, but in different combinations. But sometimes with an individual person, I might bring through very unique codes just for that person. But in a group like this, I feel like I was actually feeling, I always feel before the group, the energy build. So I could feel, as you probably experienced this, Mary, you can sort of, it's all happening through you. And like, ah. And so when I suddenly get in this space, yes, I feel like this divine orchestration taking place, and it felt particularly it felt very nurturing, very supportive, and I really felt a spaciousness in it. Like it felt equally sort of containing in like contained, if you like, I mean, in like a held embrace, like if you like, but also very open and just so hard to put in words because I just feel it sort of an opening, sort of allowing energy. And it felt very like a lot of flow and a lot of support coming through.
It's interesting what you're talking about, so much of focusing in the body. And when I do the teachings every week, we always go inward. We come right into the inside, and we always, in consultations, I remind people that we haven't gone anywhere. We've been right in here the whole time, right? Everything is happening in here. But it's interesting. I've been talking a lot the last couple of days about this podcast series called the Telepathy Tapes, which a few of the community members recommended. And it's about kids with autism who they're realizing not only can read minds and thoughts, but they have all of these incredible connections, but they're not oriented in their body. And that's a big part of it is they have a great struggle getting oriented in the body. In fact, some of the kids don't even know they have a body. Some of them have to like shake their hands so they know where their hands are and things like that. And it's such a fascinating because I know that the sense of having a body is a translation. It's a focused kind of translation, but these kids have an ability to kind of stay or hang out in a place they call the hill, which is another realm where they all meet and they just discuss things telepathically, not through language. So there's a translation automatically just in the authenticity and purity of communication. So I think about these kids as bridgers, that they bridge that world into here through a form that we perceive as physical, but they perceive as just, a presence kind of thing. So I think that people like you and I and other people who do what we do are bridging from a sort of a different space. We're bridging these realms, these abilities, but in kind of the aware physical form. So I do find it so interesting because those of us in the physical form have so much fucking clearing that we have to do again and again and again of our body field, right? That it requires a lot of house cleaning here. And the autistic kids don't talk about any of that kind of stuff. They don't talk about the things that they have to purify in terms of what their perceptions are, what they hold in a body field. So I just find it so very interesting. And I know you have been going through so much clearing, and we've been talking about this a lot. Consensus has been talking a lot about getting the body prepared for everything that's coming, these higher and higher codes, these higher and higher access and connections and abilities coming online. So I just wonder if you want to comment on that.
Oh, yes, so much there. There's a lot of layers to that, but yes, so for a lot of us, I mean, I can only speak from experience again, and some people have very different paths. For my path has been more of I would say, sort of the divine feminine path of more of descending into the body, really, to experience life through the physical form. But some people are more who are, because that's because I'm very cosmic sort of nature, right? I've got a very multidimensional, had a lot of other lifetimes in other dimensions, so for me coming into this physical body has been sort of the downward current has been very important for me. Some people it's more of an upward current and a different path. So I can only speak from my personal experience. But yes, I think a lot of us on this ascension path are coming to choose to experience our light and go and ascend through the physical body. And that means a hell of a lot of purification, a huge purification process. And it can be very, very challenging. It's not an easy path. It's much easier. I spent years when I was traumatized, dissociated, not in my body at all, right? And interestingly, all my gifts came online more when I was in my body and came in. And yeah, but it's very uncomfortable. Can be deeply challenging because we meet up against all the old, karmic patterns, the wounds, the ancestral stuff, the child's. I mean, it's just all held. Our issues and our tissues, aren't they? And so we can tend to want to escape the body. It's very easy to sort of, some people call it spiritually bypassing. And but everyone's on different paths, so on everyone's path. But certainly for me, yes, I feel like I'm here to be that bridge and to experience my multidimensionality through the physical body. But it does, for me, feel very challenging. One, to hold this much and to flow this much light and these frequencies through my vessel takes a lot of extra self-care for me, a lot of rest. I have to, it's really fucking hard. And there's a lot of clearing, a lot of healing, a lot of embodiment work, and really a lot of shadow, what you might call shadow work. There's different ways you can turn this, but yes, Mary. And it's interesting, a lot of autistic kids, because some people sort of hold the view that a lot of the children with autism are very multidimensional, and are here to bring a different frequency and hold a frequency that's less based in the density, and a lot of don't have to clear what we clear. And a lot of young children are coming in now without the karmic patterns that we've come to evolve through and grow through, because of course when we do this embodiment and flow our light through the vessel and and our vessels are being calibrated, yes, like you said, the last couple of years a lot of my transmissions were about restructuring the body to hold this much light, right? So the spiritual practices I do every day, and a lot of this coding is to help us do that, to allow this flow of light and be the bridge, or some people call it the rainbow bridge, to able to hold these and flow these frequencies and anchor in these frequencies, embody these frequencies, so we can live our light through the human and really create the change through our vessels and ascend essentially. But a lot of the young kids don't seem to have that same we're kind of, some of us older folks are maybe paving the way for the young ones to come in and have a different ride, a different experience. I don't know, but so it's interesting you said that. So I wonder if that's the case. I actually have a lot of contact with autistic children and adults, and I do see what you mean when sometimes they're in this other place. Some of that it's difficult to know how much of that. Some of that is a trauma response. Some of it not coming into the body is because it doesn't feel safe to be in the body. But yeah, some of these young kids do seem
to actually talk about that, but they don't for example, there's one kid that can read his mother's mind, like see through her eyes and all that stuff, but he can't do it through the father. But it's because the father doesn't believe in him and has these sort of judgments or whatever. So it's not as enjoyable or safe to go and unite. They call it the consciousness sharing. It's not as safe or comfortable or pure to unite with that. But I want to go back to something that you just mentioned, which is about the body care, and you just need to take care of yourself. And I'm reiterating this for all of you. As all of you know, I had to cancel Wednesday night's session. I had to cancel a consultation this week because I needed to take care of myself. And I try to model that permission of self-care, even though I'm responsible for facilitating and making sure that we continue on sort of a regular supportive path. If I'm not, fully available, then I'm not pure in what I'm offering or whatever. And this, I think it's relevant that you relate to and are sort of a presence of this divine feminine, and you have sort of this association with priestess sort of stuff. Because when you think about what in the female form and bringing in the divine feminine, what we're clearing is very different in a lot of ways than what male energies are clearing. So, for example, Shalane Harkin, who's written The Prophetess, talks a lot about all of the shit she's having to clear about shame and about worthiness and things, which isn't to say that men don't have those same kind of issues, but we have them in a very different systemic influence in our lineages. And so I think it's really beautiful that people like us can come in and, like in my own world, because I don't have an association with gender in my own being, I have it kind of differently, but it's such a beautiful view of what's happening in the differences. And, the divine feminine is the thing barreling in right now in such a powerful, potent way. And those of us who are really embodying those energies have a ton of kinds of deep, 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 thorough cleaning that has to happen. So I honor that in you and all that you have to go through to be able to be here and be so pure and present for us.
Thank you, Mary. Yeah, that's thank you for saying that. And that is the path of some of us, the priestess path, or the a lot of us have to clear the witch wound and, all of this stuff that is, like you said, systemic. A lot of us, I work with a lot of women and men, but mainly women, but men who are also here to bring that divine feminine or the gifts, because a lot of the mystical gifts, these kind of gifts often come through the female line. And so a lot of these crazy mystical psychic clairvoyance and all of these more mystical gifts often come coated in a layer of pain that needs to be healed before we can be in our full authentic self-expression in this lifetime. And I think that's what we're doing. I think a lot of this energy is coming forth to really assist at this time, because that's been suppressed and denied and punished and persecuted for so long. And even in society now, it's still very based on more yang masculine energies, the patriarchal systems and things like that are kind of more, very different structure that don't honor that intuitive wisdom that we are here to bring more of, to bring more balance and harmony, which is really more heart consciousness. It's less driven by pure mind. It's really being led from more heart coherence. So heart brain coherence. So we're more heart and soul led and sort of honoring of that energy, that Christ frequency really in the world.
Yeah. I'm going to bring it up again. The kids in the telepathy tapes talk about that, they're always like in the love. It's all about love. It's all about love. It's all about love. It's all about love. And the one sort of big paradigm that they're in the process now through this podcast of shattering is that very system of materialistic idea, consciousness, that everything is made of matter and that it's all just what we can see is provable and all that sort of stuff, which is a very patriarchal kind of lineage. It's not about all the woo-woo, feely kinds of stuff. It's very scientific oriented. And so that's the key paradigm that they're just aiming right into, but it's bleeding out into education and all kinds of things. So it's absolutely gorgeous. I want to be conscious of allowing other people to ask a couple of questions, but I have just two more that I want to just quickly ask. Do you ever just like channel to get, like, you ask a question and you get the information?
It's funny you say that. I started doing that before the light language. I used to do it through writing mainly, so I don't do it speaking like you. No.
Okay.
Excuse
I was just curious if that happens in the light language.
Sorry?
I was just curious if that happens in the
Yeah, I used to write, and do lots of channeling, really streaming, channeling. So answer to my question, I ask my higher self questions and I would get answers. And I keep meaning to go back to that, but the light language has kind of taken over and it just comes through. And because I'm so sensitive to energy, I usually just feel I've come out of that mode of language in a way. It almost feels a bit limited to me sometimes, because I've come into work on a different level that is not based on linearity and not based on human language so much, because I've learned to interpret energy and move energy. It's a completely different language, a different way of interpreting information, and so I've kind of more in that now. And so I actually even take a step back sometimes, and I go to channels and to get information, or I'm open to that. That's all wonderful, but my gifting and my path seems to be more of this, where it's when I bring through the code. So you can see what I did. I sort of directed some things are here clearly themes, but I allow each individual to interpret, because if I overly do that, it can bring it can almost disrupt the process of the individual interpreting the information, which is far more complex and vast than we can even explain. And sometimes it helps not to explain or understand it. We have to sort of surrender to the mystery and allow our bodies and our energy fields and our souls really to feel it and to interpret it.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. I'm going to wait to ask my last question for you till the end here. So the first question is, what happened the first time this ever came through for you?
The first time. So it did. I didn't have to do anything. I still don't have to do anything to go into a space or channel. So I could just speak light language now. It's just here always, seamlessly. And that's how it was in the first. So that's how it was when I first started. I was just doing my practice, and my practice at the time was very about movement. So I was doing I'd started a few weeks earlier, like a 10-minute daily dance practice, free dance, where I just be in the body and allow my body to move. And it was kind of after doing that I started just speaking. It literally came out what I wasn't in a stillness space. I wasn't doing anything particular. I was obviously in a middle of a spiritual practice, but I can't remember exactly what I was doing, but it was nothing special or different. It just started coming through kind of like that. And even now it's I don't have to do anything. It's there, and I'll be walking in the woods or, in the kitchen making tea, and I'll speak it. It's not something I have to get in the zone for. It's just always like a seamless flow through me. I was aware of light language, that there's a thing called light language, even though I wasn't following anyone doing it. I have friends who would speak about it, and I knew a couple of people who spoke it, even though I didn't really I wasn't paying much attention to it, but I kind of knew enough to think, this must be that thing called light language. And then as immediately as I spoke it, I started Googling it, and then I started like finding a few people who also spoke it. And then I was like, oh yeah, this is what's happening to me.
One of the things I love about the way that Emily does it is that so often when you hear other people who are bringing through light language, it's pretty consistent, the same kind of dialect and movements or whatever. And you have such a range of dialects and sounds and rhythms and just tones that you bring through. It's really fantastic. And I don't know how you do it so quickly with your mouth and some of the clicking.
I'll just say something about that, Mary, because when I first started, it was completely different. It's evolved. I've spoken loads, and it's as I've raised my frequency and done more purification, I'm access different frequencies. But this speed, I could not roll my R's or do any of these sounds in my normal life. And it was so funny. I've had to go through like I could actually feel for a couple, through the last year or two while this happened, I literally would go to bed at night and that my team would work on me and actually change my physical mouth to be able to make these sounds. I'd lie there and I'd feel all this, them working on me and around my jaw, my tongue, my throat, and it would change to enable me to make these sounds, because I cannot make myself say those sounds.
Wow.
Some of it's so fast. I don't honestly know how I say it.
Yeah, it's impressive.
I have had to adapt my structure to be able to do it.
Amazing. Yeah, you're like an instrument. You're exactly like an instrument.
It's like an instrument. For me, I can only speak for me because I don't know many people who speak light language like me like that. I know a lot of people speak light language, maybe their soul song or something, or a frequency or a few. But for me, I'm a very open channel for light code, so I can access a very, very broad range of frequencies, and I have quite a big team I'm working with. And so that's why I had to put myself on YouTube, despite a lot of resistance and reluctance, because I did not want to do this in public. I did not want to be seen. I did not want to do this. But it was not just about me. I'm here to be of service. And I knew that these codes, however strange a lot of people might find it, or I would worry about that, it seemed very important that I share it with people to help activate and help assist others at this time. So that's why I continue to do it.
Beautiful. I remember when the very first time that I channeled, I distinctly felt, I was in a meditation with my friend in Australia, Kareen, and I distinctly felt my throat being like my awareness in the throat being moved to like clear the way for this huge then volume of things. So there is like, when they're ready, they're going to help us, right? Like, and it's there is they or there is a funny thing to say because it's all connected. But yeah, I think that we have to be here again in the body, right? When we're talking about the body being the vessel and being the avenue through which all of this has happened, or the perception of the body. It's so fascinating. I love that. I love that. Thank you, hon. The next question is that this session felt very grandmotherly and familiar. Is that normal?
It's so interesting to hear you say that because so many people respond in that way. And it's very hard to put words to, isn't it? But it's all about resonance. So this is a different way of communicating where you feel it, don't you? You really feel it. And you feel a lot of people say it sounds very grandmothery or that you're feeling embraced. It's very common for people to say that. And some of them, the languages do feel like very sort of grandmothery. I've heard that said to me several times, and there are all sorts of things, and some for me sound very much like my team, like beings that are just here to bring through loving sort of non-linear language to assist us, and some is more very feels like just frequencies of sound and places and energies that's less sort of about a being, you might say. So yeah, but most people feel a sense of resonance and a sense of feeling that it's peaceful and it's supportive and helps. Some people also, I don't know, you'll have to tell me, the rest of you, if you feel some kind of sense of familiarity with it at a deeper level, even though you don't know what it is and how to express that. But I'm glad it resonated and I'm really glad it supported you.
The next question is, do you think that some of our ancient languages were actually light codes?
Yeah, it's possible. It's when I first started, my light language was like really guttural and it felt like I was like, oh, sounds like an ancient Egyptian or something. I even Googled and just tried to find like what that sounded like because I thought, oh, this is like might be from my Egyptian lifetime or something. And it did because it sounded so different. And I was like, wow. And there's some of them have been very, one time a friend of mine said, oh, God, you sound just like the people in when I went to Ladakh in the Himalayas. You sound just like the monks there. And I was like, oh. And so, people, maybe, you never know, maybe there are elements that are from those times before language became quite distorted and changed. So yeah, who knows? It's fascinating.
I also just want to comment on the question that she had about whether you know what it's all saying. I've heard Emily say before, and I speak from experience here, a lot of times when we try to define something or say what it means, we're just condensing it dramatically. We've talked about this several times. And this is why I love that Emily drops in and out of with English to sort of say what's happening, but not necessarily to narrate what's happening in terms of translate it, unless it's helpful, unless it's just a comment that's helpful. But beyond that, it's just condensing something that's beyond words. Am I saying that correctly, Emily?
Absolutely, yes. And it was so tempting to say, what is that exactly? Was that exactly? And it's, yeah, what you said is perfect, Mary. Sometimes it's not helpful for us to know, and it actually interrupts the process because this is far more complex than we can even fathom, right? Because when we say we're multidimensional, we really are. We're so much more than we think we are. We're so much more than just this. And yes, we're our bodies and we're so much more than our bodies. And there's so much happening in our fields. And, we're so interconnected. We are all that is really focused in this now. And so we are streams of energy. Our souls are doing lots of different things all at once. And, if you think of all the dimensions we're coexisting in and flowing through, it would blow. Our minds couldn't comprehend it. So when we try and some things are helpful, like I said. So I bring through things that might bring a bit of enough for you to know and feel that resonance because that's all you need. It's like an unraveling. So once we just get that maybe word or tone, or you feel something in a certain area, it's like another thread or knots kind of been pulled out, and then this beautiful healing is allowed to take place. But as soon as we bring our mind and analysis into it, can interrupt that process. Sometimes we can feel frustrated at that from our minds, but this is working on a sort of really a quantum level, so you don't need to always know everything.
Yeah, I actually, this is not an unfamiliar thing for this group because we often talk about the great state of, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what it means. I don't know what's happening, but there's a trust inherent in this. We know that something is processing. So, yeah, thank you. The next question is, can you tune into and channel or translate nature or land or animals?
Well, it's interesting. Again, I don't exactly know because it's all quite mysterious. But what I found was I have channeled elements, land. So yes, often when I go out walking in nature, I will the light language will just come flowing through completely clearly, and I'm obviously doing some what you might call grid work or working with the land. And often even through my client sessions, I would work through them to the land they're existing on. So it's all working together. And so yes, it can be the spirits of the land, it can be the souls within sort of plants or beings, it can be the elements. So for example, once I was walking along a stream, and I was just sort of about a year ago was stopped and just looked at the water and just sort of was tuning into the water, and a song came through of the water. In fact, I can sing it for you if you like. Kiyo no shane, Kiyo no shane, Kiyo no shane, hey yo. Kiyo no shane, Kiyo no shane, Kiyo no shane, hey yo. And it just came through just like that. And I felt when I was singing it, it was a memory for coming through the water, and I felt a whole choir singing it with me, like ancient beings or people. And I had another one where I was walking through a nature reserve with where wind was coming through the rushes, and I just stopped and the song came through. Hey ya, droshna hey ya, droshna hey ya, droshna hey ya. And that was the song of the wind coming through the rushes. And yes, so I can't tell you exactly what it is, whether it was the spirit of the rushes or the wind. It felt like very much attached to the elements. And so it works in various ways. And so often I'm bringing through cosmic codes to connect with earthly codes. It's all like a collaboration and orchestration. Sometimes I will have to do clearing of the land or energies in the land. So yeah, I can't explain it all. I don't have full understanding of it. So, but yes, it can be very earthy and feel very ancient, connected to ancient lands, ancient wisdom, ancient people, but also very cosmic and other universe even.
The next question is it okay to listen to this or other transmissions several times?
Generally, the things I do for groups are usually fine to re-listen to over and over if you wish, and just use your own, judgment about that. Sometimes things work at deeper levels the more you listen, or I wouldn't say go overboard. Some people get a bit obsessive and like, oh, I listen to it every day. I don't know if that's really necessary, but you can certainly listen and experience new levels and layers as you listen. If I was to do more personal work, which is very clearing and something very deeply healing, usually it's not necessary to listen to it again because it's done, and sometimes our minds think, oh, we need more, we need more. We do have a tendency to always think, oh, I've got to get to the next step, or I've got to do more, I've got to do more, I haven't got enough yet. And so, just trust you received what you've needed to receive, and just use your own, feeling. Something might come to you and think, oh, I might listen to Emily's light language again. That feels good right now, rather than from a place of, oh, I think I need to do more. I tell you what, I think if I listen to that light language, it's going to make me get to this next point. You see the difference in the energy.
That's related to what we talk about with consensus. Each time you listen to it, you're already different because the last time you listened to it, it changed your field. And the next time you take it in differently, and it will work with you wherever you're at in the moment in the way that's in your highest interest. And there goes the trust again. right? And I like how you say just, listen to your own discernment and take that in. But that's a great segue into the last question that I had for you, Emily, which is um, if so, I know that, we operate as a collective body. Every week we gather with consensus. We operate specifically in that way. But I'm wondering if, for example, if I made this interview public, if I posted this on YouTube, is this session that you did, the reading that you did, is it also helpful for them, even though you did this specifically for our group?
Well, because it all works in the quantum, as I said, our teams would have already known that you would do that kind of thing or adapted. So technically, it's all for whoever will or at any point in time listen to this and be part of this group. So yes, it will help anyone who would ever listen to this, past, present, future, because it's all accounted for.
Yeah, good. I asked that question in case I decide to make this public for people that are going to ask that question of themselves. But is there anything more that you want to tell people before we go? Anything that you want to wrap up with?
Well, first of all, just thank you for everyone. I'm so deeply grateful for this collaboration, and all of your presence was a contribution. So thank you. I really mean that. And Mary, I just love you so much. You're great. I'm so honoured to be, your friend and to have this lovely connection with you. And so thank you. So yes, my website is emilyhayward.co.uk because I'm in the UK, and my YouTube channel I think is Emily Hayward 444. Me and Mary share it's the same magic numbers. So you can reach out to me there or find me there. And yes, if you go to my website, there's an option to sign up for my weekly Heart Haven group, which is every Tuesday at 8 p.m. UK time, and it's just a simple space we all gather on Zoom. It's free, and as Mary said, it's recorded, so if you can't make it live, you can catch the replay, and it's about 40 minutes. We do about 15-20 minutes of grounding and centering practices, just embodiment practices to all arrive in the space, feel more safe, settled in our bodies. And I lead you through some heart math, which is sort of heart coherence, so we can really come into our heart space. And then I bring through a light language transmission for what the group most needs or most service or the highest good. And so that's a lovely, lovely heart center space, much like this. So you're welcome to, check that out if that sings to you. Yes, and you can look at my offerings, but I am kind of getting a bit of a waiting list at the moment. So I can't do anything right now, but if you want to reach out to me and connect with me, please feel free to email me.
Emily, sweetheart, thank you so very much. We take this in the spirit in which it's intended, which is collaboration, connection, support, service, and an act of love. And our time together will be of benefit to all beings. Namaste, namaste, everybody. Bye.